hello everyone. This is Gameside Chat, and today my guest is Matt Bateman. Welcome, Matt.
Good morning. Hello. How's it going? I definitely haven't just woken up. This is going to be great.
Yeah, I think. Well, if you've seen you've seen right some of my podcasts before.
Yes.
So I sent you a list of questions, and I'm not gonna go through them as like in order. So I guess like where the conversation goes, that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it.
Cool.
Just try and have fun and be honest.
I mean, yeah, definitely got to be honest, mate. Otherwise, what's the point? All right, let's.
Right. So I'm ready.
As am I.
Nice. Okay. Well, let's start with the very first question then. It's going to be the easiest one, and then the rest will be kind of harder.
So, no, I've been playing since 2015. I moved here from New Zealand, summer, around July. I had a friend who helped me get set up, and they basically, I don't want to say blackmailed, but they kind of like pushed me into it. And it was both the best and worst thing I've ever done. So that was me. I showed up one summer, and on that day I met Jay Holmes, I met Jan when Jan still had dreads, I met Frankie, and honestly, just some of the best people I've ever met in my entire life, and I never looked back. I was hooked pretty much instantly. Like the sport was, I showed up expecting a bunch of Harry Potter fans, and I was like pleasantly surprised. Yeah, I'm a massive nerd in my own right, but like it was just good, passionate people who loved a great sport, and that's what got me and what kept me there. I never looked back. That was that, and I've been playing ever since. Started with Unspeakables, and then played with them for a couple of years, and then have been playing for LQC for the last 2 seasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had kind of a big career, yeah? So is that all the teams you've played for? Like how many teams have you played for?
I mean, I've also played for the London Monarchs. I've played for both Team Ireland. My mum's from Ireland, don't at me. And obviously Team New Zealand as well. We were meant to be at the World Cup this July, but with the current situation, that's been postponed for another year. So I get around, I guess you could say, as far as teams go.
Oh, okay, that's good. So you have a lot of different experiences.
Different teams, different styles, but it's been fun to sort of watch the evolution of the game. Like I haven't been around since the inception in the UK, but definitely it's changed from give it to the big boy with a beta. Like, if you want to be good at the sport, having one good beta and one good quaffle player is no longer enough to play at a level. Like obviously it's a valid strategy in some cases, but I think it's nice to see this sort of natural progression of like the way Raptors play versus someone like LQC or even someone like Werewolves. It's mm-hmm. like there's different ways, different adaptations. Other people sort of experimented and tried and failed and succeeded, and it's quite nice to sort of watch like the meta of the game. And like that's UK and Europe and like the rest of the world as well. Like everyone talks about Australian Quidditch because Australia isn't just why am I there? God, why am I like on the other side of this tiny little island? I'll just go on tangents, mate. And just start.
No worries, man. So in all this time, what was your most, I guess, fun experience? Like, was it playing international, or was it playing, or is it just completely different sports? Oh God, I blew myself up.
Oh, good job. Proud of you. I was not a sporty person, sort of before this. Like I've never been. Actually, no, that's a complete lie. I've traditionally growing up, I've always been quite terrible at sport. So this is definitely like the sport I've given the most time and attention to. I think part of that is like when you're from New Zealand, if you are not a giant, which I am not. I'm an average-sized white dude. Yeah, like sport is. Rugby is in our blood, but I simply just didn't have that didn't really have that access. So for me, coming into Quidditch, which is so like welcoming, exciting, for like anyone of any ability or any sort of type of person was huge. Go on. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But I think, like, if it's favourite memories, I mean, I kept on Unspeakables for 1.5 years. I still think one of my favourite memories to this day was beating Southampton in overtime. That, like, Unspeakables as a club used to be, like, we struggled to beat even teams, like at a development cup level. The club was the club wasn't what it was today, and like the work that Monique's done and that leadership has been amazing. But I still think that standout has been us taking SQC. Like the last year, we lost. I think we came 24th at BQC in the lower bracket, and then we came back to like come 4th, I believe, overall at that Southern, and that was huge for the club. That was like that big step forward, and we carried that, and I think that was the momentum that they really pushed forward. But like I think playing with national teams, I think playing for New Zealand has been a huge point of pride. Just sort of seeing these players come so far. Like I love coming to Development Cup and sort of seeing teams that. Oh, it's me. I love seeing these teams that have like never really played or pushed really come so far in terms of training and ability. And like I've experienced that. I've come from being like a shitty little beta to not quite a shitty little bit. And I think that's what it is. Like Quidditch is built on individual interactions. And
yeah.
I think a big part of that is, you know, like having the chance to sort of like improve. And it's a homing missile, mate. I remember far too much. I'm sorry, man. I can pull it back if you need.
No, it's fine. Oh god, right. I'm outclassed.
But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that I love about the sport, and it's a love about the game, and it's a love about the people, and I think that's why I stick around. Like it's just
fair.
Yeah. Go on.
I'm gonna miss it, right?
Oh, you're gonna blow yourself up.
Oh no. Well, I've done absolutely no damage to you, but I've a lot of damage to myself, so. So what we're gonna do with this is I'm gonna find some pro gameplay, and I'm just gonna like cut out all my crap, and just make it seem like.
Yeah, great.
Right?
Just that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I'm terrible.
Okay.
I'm terrible at video games. Clearly, yeah. You know what? I'm willing to. I'm willing to let that slide, but you know, for the sake of your reputation.
So I guess if you had to pick, I guess, do you like playing more internationally or more? Oh come on!
Did you hit you? I think you hit yourself. Oh my god.
Yeah, it bounced off you. Annoying. Right, I should stop doing grenades. I'm not good at that. Yeah, so I was trying to ask you, like, if you had to pick what you like more, is playing international or playing a regular season or playing QPL, which one would you have to pick?
I mean, I do like winning. And New Zealand, I love them. You know, it's going to be a tough World Cup for us to win.
Yeah.
I like the international play. It's more competitive. But
yeah.
also just from a standpoint of like, there's so many different styles of play that come into that. Like even something like EQC, where you've got like this absolute, you know, to sound cliche, melting pot of. Oh no. There we go. This absolute melting pot of different teams and styles and approaches. Like that's, you know, you've got the best of the sport, the best of the community, and you get a bit of that with European games and World Cups as well. But I think it's much more apparent in EQC because you've got these differences, but it's a little more dissolved amongst, if that makes sense. I might be talking complete nonsense, but no, international is like the great like the community and everything that comes with like the EQC is great, but it's the international stuff.
Yeah, fair.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. I mean, to be fair, were you there in where was it? The last World Cup?
In Italy, yes, I was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I was there as well. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think. No, we didn't play each other.
I wasn't aware that you played at World Cup. Who did you play for?
I played for Team South Korea.
Oh shit. Oh, there you go then. No, we never did play each other. No. So New Zealand, we played the Netherlands, we played Germany, we played Malaysia twice. Still not over it.
I mean, to be fair, I can ask you some about the World Cup. So, like...
Yeah, go for it.
Because the video before you, I asked my girlfriend what she thought about the World Cup. But I guess, like, because it's different for you guys. So what was your experience with the World Cup, like, when you showed up? And, like, how was it go from arrival to, like, departure? Like, tell us about it.
I think there's an energy there. And it wasn't, like... So I was at the 2016 World Cup as well, just as a ref. In Germany.
Okay, yeah.
And that I still think to this day is probably my favorite event. It was small, it was enclosed. I think there's only something like... I want to say 18 teams. It might be even less than that. But there was just like such a great festival community aspect to that. I loved it. I really, really loved that. Italy struggled a little bit with the venue, and there were like problems. And I mean, since you played, I'm sure you know what I was talking about, things like pitches.
Yeah,
but I still think there was like a good community feeling that sort of came with that. And like as a player coming into that, like that, nothing really shakes that. Like you get to come in, you get to do the haka, you get to sort of like celebrate that culture and like sort of carry that bit of pride.
Yeah,
that was huge. And getting to play, I mean, like our first game was against Germany, and like New Zealand playing for the very first time against one of the best teams in Europe. That was never going to go our way, but still, like everyone played, everyone knew what they were there to do, and it wasn't like sometimes you get Merc tournaments where people come to sort of like hang out and chill and like, oh yeah, we'll take it easy. No, it wasn't that at all. Like everyone was there to like everyone put the work in, everyone played their heart out, and I think that's like World Cup is you can't slack. You're there to like to win definitely. And go and push, and I think it brings out the best of. Hey, you hit me. Good job. It brings out the absolute best in people, and that's what World Cup was. That heartbreaking final between USA and Belgium, but also proving that USA is mortal. I think like Australia did it with a fluke. Belgium did it through like just pure skill. Like no, like World Cup just as a thing is amazing. And I'm looking forward to USA next year now. Like that'll be, I think. Just as good again.
Oh, nice shot, man.
Thank you.
Okay.
But what about you? How did you find World Cup?
I mean, it was great. I mean, apart from the fact that basically I tore my ACL playing against Fraser on the first day. Yeah, so that was annoying. But apart from that, it was great. Like we got to play with Team Korea, and obviously there's no pressure on us, so it's just more like you got to enjoy the company. We got to. I mean, it was a mix of us taking it seriously, so we did trainings and stuff, but also like I had the chance to look around Florence, so it was very nice. But yeah, the pitches were crap, man.
I think I think our first game against Malaysia, it was sand based. We had like 5 cones on the midline, a keeper line, and that like it was
ridiculous. Yeah,
it was. Yeah. I don't want to stay here and bash it because I like despite everything I do know people work very hard to sort of like.
Yeah.
But
I mean, to be fair, like I can't imagine how you would, book a, good enough venue with such a small budget, and also like you have to tell them that it's Quidditch. How the hell do you do this?
Oh shit! Crazy. Fuck! Damn it! Sorry, excuse my language. That was not.
You're trying to help me, yeah?
Not my finest moment. Also, just realized I'm playing the Karen Worm, so we're gonna have to do something about that. That's like while we're still on the topic of international Quidditch. Like you take a team like Olympians, like when I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, most of the players have never been to something like an EQC before, and I think for a team like that for a team like that to attend an international event would be huge.
A big thing,
I think it's such a great experience. You learn so. Like my first EQC, I went as a referee, and stayed with Werewolves of London. And that was monumental, like just sort of seeing what the communities like. You've always sort of known, you got a taste of that at like World Cups, but to sort of see and know what it's really like was massive for me, and like, it was such a great time. And I think Olympians like would really benefit from that. Yeah, it is annoying, but it is what it is.
The only annoying thing about like, yes,
beautiful, nice. Well done. Yeah, good,
nice,
good. All right.
I'm learning.
You're good.
But yeah, so the only thing about like international type events is that like it's so expensive, man.
Yeah. But I think that's still because, the sport is still entirely self-funded.
Yeah.
And okay, sure, Quidditch is still quite a niche thing. And the few sponsorships that we've picked up or Team UK has picked up has always been like pretty nominal amounts. Like we simply can't ask for like proper big boy money to pay for these things. Like it's something QUK are looking at, and it's something we've got genuinely like a team currently working through at the moment. Like our operations team, so we've got Tom Hutton who's come in. We've got a couple of people looking at that, and Salmon Stone's building up some stuff at the moment as well, which I can kind of talk about. So like with all this downtime, like we're doing things like updating the websites and changing a few bits around. So importantly for us, we want to make sure that when we come into the next season, whenever that happens, hopefully this side of September, we want to make sure we're coming in with like actual stuff that both the community and the public can look at, and it's like, oh cool, this is more than just a bunch of like Harry Potter fans on broomsticks Like it's a serious sport with statistics, and like even at like Abby Whiteley's like research and everything, it's done so much just for us adding. Oh, well done. All right, I can't even be mad at that. That was just skill, mate. It's just like in terms of statistics and data, it just helps us make those informed decisions, but also sell us as like as quote unquote a proper thing. Like we know we're a proper thing. Our players, our coaches, our volunteers, everyone works really, really hard. But like for us to actually show that off and prove it properly is a whole other thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think as like someone who's like led a club and like I've been part of that. It's definitely not for everyone. I can't tell you the number of people we've turned up thinking it is like a Harry Potter fan club and realize it's a sport and they lose interest. But I think the people it is for, like once they're in, they're in. And I'm sure anyone listening should know what I mean by that, right? Like no, once you're in, and like you love it and the community and everything behind it, and that's 100% the best part. What are you doing?
You'll see. Oh, okay. Well, okay.
That's alright. You clipped
I
me.
tried to push you off there. Yeah.
Sorry, did I answer the question at all there, or was I just ranting nonsense?
No, no, it's good. Yeah.
Cool.
Man, to be fair, like it's good because it's kind of like evolving a bit, so it's nice. It's a good conversation. It feels like a real conversation, not just me grilling you for answers. Don't worry, this is not an exam, mate. No way. But to be fair, I give all my interviewees a grade, so you'll get it after I finish editing. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, of course, mate. Obviously, yeah. Like, that's fine. I'm not in any.
Right. So I guess since we're on the topic of QUK, so how long have you actually been involved with that?
Let's just see how well this does.
Oh, geez, is that the holy grenade?
Yeah, go on. Right. So I was vice president for I think 2 years, and I've been president for one, just over one. I've genuinely lost count. Yeah. So I've been president for a year, and I was vice for 2. That's it. I was never another volunteer outside of sort of like refereeing and some other basic bits. I never did a tournament. I was never tournament committee. I sort of just came into it basically. I captained Unspeakables, and I'm really bad at saying no to things. So when I stepped down, I thought, I'll take a break now. And my girlfriend at the time was like, yeah, take a break. And then I decided, well, they're looking for a vice president. And so I applied. I talked to James Burnett about it, who was the current vice. Got their advice. And is it actually something, I want to do or could do?
Okay, that's cool. So, I mean, to be fair, good. You answered 2 of my questions. That's good, because I also was going to ask you, like, why did you run for that?
I don't know if there's like a good specific answer as to why. I saw things I wanted to, not quite. I saw things I wanted to do. I saw things that I wanted to change. I openly complained about stuff. And one of the big things as well, if you don't like it, volunteer, put your hand up and get dirty and come change it.
Yeah, true, yeah.
And so, yeah, it was well, cool. There are things I want to do. Let's go and do it. Like I keep coming back to it. I love the sport. I love the community. I can see the potential in it. So I want to leave it in a better place that I found it. And so coming in as vice was the way to do that. And like the reason I actually stepped into president, I didn't want to. Like I was quite firm on the fact that I don't want to be a vice. I don't want to be a president, rather. I would rather just stay as vice and do the work. Well done. Do the work as vice and support someone who's going to stick it out the long. But no one applied. And I'd like to think I'm doing a decent job. Imposter syndrome all the way. So is obviously always a thing. But
let's use a new color for this little piece over here.
I think. Hard for me to put into words. I care a lot. And I just want to see whether that's me or someone else, the sport grow and move on into like something bigger and better. And so I had intended to step down at the end of the season, but with the current situation and now the season changes, and I'm sure you bastard.
Hey.
And I'm sure we'll get into the season split.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've really backed myself into a corner here. With the season split stuff, I'm sure we'll get into that. So I think at the moment I don't actually know what I'm doing as far as playing goes, but I need to stick around to sort of see this pandemic through and next season.
Yeah.
But I also don't actually know who would take over at this stage
Fair.
if I step down.
I mean, yeah, that is a problem because I feel like next year will be much harder to like, I guess, arrange everything.
Yeah.
So.
Oh
man.
Oh yeah. Man. Okay. All right. This is the comeback. This is.
I mean, yeah. To be fair,
yeah. This is
close.
This is the glorious. This is the BQC final we needed, right? It's LQC. LQB even. Like shout out to my second team. Gonna do you proud, Harry Smith. Right, let's not blow myself up, because who would do something like that?
Load up a good brush with the
Alright. Come on.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yes.
Oh, very good one. Nice.
I'll take it. Yeah.
So is that how you actually won the election? You beat people in Worms?
Yeah, exactly that. Like they can they get a straight answer from me if they can beat me in a friendly video game.
I have absolutely no idea where you are.
Good.
Great.
But you can come find out. Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
No.
Whatever. Why not? It's more exciting this way.
Crash.
There you go. No. So what? So I guess while I'm murdering you.
It's not a sentence I thought I'd hear.
What does the role of the president actually entail, mate?
What does it entail? I don't really do anything. No, that's definitely not true. So there's, for anyone not familiar with the structure of Quidditch UK, so we have an executive team which consists of 9 people and a secretary. So there's myself and Abby, who are who are the president and vice president respectively. We have a gameplay director who looks after snitches and referees. It's Eamon Harrison. We have a teams director who looks after things like transfers and issues and new teams. And things like that. That's Harry Smith. We have an expansion director, Kevin Lee, who looks after new teams and funding and growth, which is Kevin Lee from Unspeakables. We have a volunteers director, who was Molly Smith. We have a new volunteers director who's just started, named Mary, and they look after the volunteers, which is pretty obvious. An events director, run by Fran Morris, which is quite a large team. Let's change that. We also have, I'm gonna forget someone, and it's gonna come back and bite me. Sam Instone, our media director. We have Chloe Durkin, our secretary. Tom Hutton, our operations director, who looks after finance. I think that's it. If it's not, someone.
It's actually a really big,
we meet every week. Every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, just over at Google Hangouts, usually
cool.
for 1 to 2 hours, and that's where we go over everything. So as president, I sort of more specifically focus on things like the bigger picture stuff, policy stuff, international relations. So anything to do with the IQA or with Quidditch Europe. IQA is pretty obvious. Quidditch Europe looks up. I thought you were going into the water there. I sort of work with them directly. So anything like policy or transfers or EQC, that's I take on all of that and working with the NGB leadership from around the world. But things like setting fees or dealing with policy or gameplay or making final decisions on things or chairing meetings. Like it's a lot of organization, but at the same time, I think the secret to running any sort of like good team is surrounding yourself with people who are far more talented than yourself. And like the team we have there is exactly that. Like they're all smart, brilliant, hardworking, dedicated people. Overshot that. And so like Abby would look after, like, she does a lot of the similar stuff I do, but she's much more focused on like data and information, making sure our decisions are informed as well as they possibly can be. Tom Hutton looks after things like all of our legal stuff with us as well, and our finance. And like pays our bills and makes sure everything sort of gets done and budgeted and sorted along with his team. So like it's a nice even division of things we do, but I think it's more the bigger picture stuff, figuring out, okay, what we need to do. Like even the community university split, I spent 3-4 months of talking to people and writing and drafting and getting input from other NGBs. Like, a lot of it is looking at spreadsheets and plans and going through feedback and just seeing what is the best way we can possibly do this and knock this out. Like, you know, you're a president, you do, and it depends on who you are. Like, I like getting my hands dirty. I try and do a lot, quote unquote. So there's not really one thing I like doing, but it's more the bigger picture and just sort of like trying to figure out what the next step is. I'll go down tangents again if I'm not careful, but QUK and Quidditch as a sport is traditionally quite a reactive sport. Yeah. And I think, like, and when I say reactive, it's like, oh, this has happened. Okay, now we're going to do this. We're going to change this policy, introduce this thing. Like, even EQT was, god damn it. Wow. Even EQT was born out of, oh, well, now we need a fairer thing, so let's just make another tournament. And of course, that's evolved into like one of the most competitive fixtures of the year. Yeah. What the idea is with QUK now, and what I've been trying to do for the last few years, is turn this into something proactive. I don't want to like come up with a policy or a system that we're going to have to turn around in like a year's time and like, well, this didn't work, we're going to change it. Like it's a difficult change, but it's one we feel is the fairest without affecting too many people. And it's something that teams can grow into long term, and we'll get into the split because I'm sure there are questions you want to ask about that.
Yeah, I do have questions for that.
Yeah, of course.
Wow, that was horrible.
I mean, it's better than mine, mate. Honestly, I mean, did you touch me? Because if you did, you're already doing. No, all right.
No, I've.
So this must be riveting for people to watch. I hope the conversation is at least somewhat interesting to
at least something. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it is important because I feel like, I mean, obviously, like, this is a difficult topic, the uni community split, and I feel like for a lot of people, they don't really try to get into it and, like, try to understand it. So it's like, oh, it's bad or it's good, you know? So it's kind of nice to, like, hear from you and be like, no, we actually, like, you know, I guess we sift through data, we talk to teams, we meet every week. You don't just make this decision just because, you know.
Yeah, no, I don't wake up on a whim and think I'm going to do this. Like, there's.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it is part of QK's problem, and Sam's doing a great job. That we're trying to like fix that and work that back about being better and being like, we are transparent. If you ask us something, we will tell you. If we can tell you, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think.
No, come on. Hey, no, you're the bad guys. You're the big brother.
Oh, we're evil. We just want to charge money, and obviously, like, thank you for my second yacht. I really appreciate it. No, but like also like I think people do forget, and we do still see it sometimes. Like, none of us are getting paid. Like, we're all studying full time, or we work full time. Like, I'm my day job is I'm a film director, and that takes up a significant chunk of my time already. Like we do this out of like the love and kindness and care of our heart. And like that sounds sappy and like, no, we work hard, be nice to us. Like, I think there was a point to that. Yeah, we look at the information, we look at the trends and the changes, and we talk to people who've done it before. Like, we don't want to be USQ at all, but they've walked this road before. They know what we're getting into. And so, like, they even said, like, the Div 1, Div 2 thing in the long run didn't work out for us. They did it for a couple of years, and it didn't work out, and these are the reasons why. You know, the volatility and the changes in university teams meant that there'd be so much shift in sort of the competitive meta, basically, that, you know, you could have one team be amazing in the university or in Div 1 and then suddenly drop to the bottom of Div 2 because of bad recruitment. And sure, that could happen in any sport, but just by the nature of people coming in and out of university, you're sort of like exacerbating that so much more. Thank you, Castle Tower. So like that was one of the big reasons. Like, sure, a Div 1, Div 2 thing could work, but at the same time, like in the long term, it doesn't seem to make sense if it's going to come back and bite us in like a year or two, and we're going to be back on this drawing board. We want a system that's going to work. And the other part, honestly, like the only reason we play in October, November is because like that's when the university system is, and if like not quite half of our teams are now bugger, get away not quite half of our teams now are like community teams, there's less reason for us to be playing in winter where 3G is really expensive, it's cold, venues are like often more booked up. So if we can move some of the community play to a time like August, September, October, and the universities can have smaller 3G, cheaper venues, it makes things cheaper, it makes things more accessible. And like the discussion you had with Matt Fenton, I think if you use Southampton as an example, yeah, they're an outlier. But you know, they've also got like a few community players on that team. And I don't think you can use the extreme examples to justify an entire change like that. I think Southampton are a very good team, but are they still going to be that same team in the next couple of years? And also after seeing them at EQT, I would argue that they're not unbeatable. Warwick, Chester, Liverpool all held their own, and some, and Edinburgh as well. Sorry, all held their own and some against Southampton. Southampton did not walk the university section of that by any means. And I was really worried before EQT. I was shitting the bed, as it were. Thinking, well, if this, you know, if Southampton just absolutely boss it, then yeah, I've made a terrible mistake, and oh come on, then yeah, like they're just gonna walk the uni division of BQC, which didn't happen, and so we came away from that like we felt like we made the right decision with that, and like there are going to be outliers, and they're also going to be people at the lower end of the community division, which are going to like impact. And so the feedback we had was like, well, Dev Cup shouldn't just be for uni teams, and we're like, yep, you know what, you're right. So we've tried to make more competitive opportunities for like lower tier university community teams rather that can go to Dev Cup and still enjoy that and play teams at that level, and not think, well, because you know I can't put a goal past Raptors, I shouldn't be here. Like it gives everyone something to live for and play for. If that in a very roundabout way makes sense of what we're trying to achieve. We're still like piecing all that together. We're like this, like tonight I think we're going over like the next iteration of what we want to do. Now that we know BQC is not happening, we've got a bit more data from the surveys, which if you haven't filled out the survey, actually it'll probably be closed by the time this is out, so ignore me. But like we've got more information that Abby's been collecting and collating, and we're like, cool, we know what we want to do next with this. So now we're going to go through and figure out, okay, what is practical with timings? What is the government saying about when we could host BQC? Not BQC, the next season rather. And then we can start putting things here like fees and timings for EQC and everything else, and like paint a picture. And then the community will be like, yep, good. Or no, this is terrible, and we can make a final call on that. Yeah.
So I was going to ask, like, because it's not going to be over at least until the start of the season. So are you going to like do what a lot of the football leagues are doing and just canceling the season, just start from scratch? Or
I mean, yeah, we have. So we announced last week actually that
Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah. So we put an announcement out. So BQC's done. EQC has also been cancelled or postponed. They've called it, but it's cancelled until next year. And so BQC is not happening because even if we got out by July, we wouldn't be able to find a venue and get everything organised quickly enough to make it happen.
Yeah.
So our focus now is next season, and part of the survey, part of the feedback was people largely preferred us focusing on getting a stronger start to next year than try and just get a tournament this year. Like they'd rather we just came into it stronger, and I completely agree. I don't think you can turn that gun around. I'm sorry, dude. I think I only face it that one way.
Don't let it get you down.
Oh no! What?
Oh, dude.
Oh,
so you get 2 shots to shotgun.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have told me. Why would you tell me?
Because I got this is a PR moment for me, right? I gotta paint myself as like a decent dude.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Well, so am I just doing this to help your PR issues?
Huh? No, of course not. No, not at all. No, I think it's important. I think like a big thing for me is like I listen to as much as I can, as many podcasts, as many discussions. Like I get involved less now just because my opinion, like I say the wrong thing and it can go the wrong way or people get the wrong the wrong end of the stick. But I read everything. I look at everything. I go and I weigh and I consider. And we, like, QUK, the team, EMT, we look at everything. There's, like, we read and we discuss and we compare notes and we disagree. We agree with, actually, that's a good point, and we'll go back. So, like, those discussions are important. Those messages we get are important. Like, we're not ignoring those. We're just, as soon as we say something, not so much that it becomes gospel, but, like, it's important that we let the community sort of have like unfiltered access, freedom of speech basically, and then we can come back and like, okay, fair point. Not so much of a fair point. We can have that back and forth. Yeah, like that's really important. I try and like read and stay across that as much as I can.
No, to be fair, that's definitely a good way to. Oh, okay. Well, I guess.
Oh.
I mean, you still got me, but.
Yeah, but at what cost?
So I guess I have a few more questions for the QUK side.
Yeah, go for it, mate. Nothing's made me sweat yet, so we're doing okay.
I mean, again, it's meant to be a chill thing. I'm not gonna try and make you.
No, where's the hard
make you
journalism
answer for your crimes or whatever. Yeah. I guess. So, what does the UK do to try and help the sport? Like, do you guys have any more ongoing schemes that would help? I guess introduce more people into the sport, or like coach less experienced teams to be better.
Sure. Let's talk about coaching first, because I think that's probably the more yeah, like I came away from Dev Cup. So there was an injury that happened at Dev Cup. I won't get into specifics, but a player ran into another player's leg. Because as I understand it, they lowered their head when they tried to tackle someone, and it impacted them in such a way they injured their neck quite badly, and it's one of the worst injuries that Epione, our medical team, if you're at a Quidditch UK event, the lovely medical staff are called Epione, and they're amazing. Highly recommend. It's probably the first time they've been genuinely worried about an injury that's occurred.
All right. Wow.
And so that came from, no, it wasn't like a player hit someone too hard or the bicep rule or whatever. It was simply a player not knowing how to tackle safely. And I think it's not a fault so much on the player. It's more that the state of coaching in the UK is not great. All of the best coaches are either concentrated in London, and I think most of them are, or they play for like well-established community teams. And you do have clubs like Olympians doing great things in the community and getting out there and helping out. But what became very apparent to us, and it's been apparent for a while, but I think this sort of magnified it, was coaching needs to be more of a mandatory thing with QUK. So we are looking at a coaching system, a mandatory coaching system, which QUK would resource and cover, where if you're elected the coach of a club at a certain level, and we're still figuring out the metrics on that, you would need to come for a day and learn how to coach. We're not going to teach you things like how to throw a ball, how to tackle. It's how to manage people. It's what techniques you should be teaching. And then at least we can start educating this sort of grassroots level of players and volunteers to come and put that work in and make sure that the game gets better, but also more importantly, it gets safer. Like a lot of our resources have been going into like media and making like bigger and better events, and that's great and that's important, and it's important we purely not just from a gameplay standpoint, but also from like a safety standpoint. So
yeah,
what QUK are wanting to introduce this season is essentially mandatory coaching. If you are the coach of a club at a particular level, which we're still figuring out where and what that would be, you would need to come to essentially a seminar for a day, which QUK could resource and pay for as best we could, but you would come away from that knowing how to coach people. Not specifically what to coach. Nice move. Not specifically what to coach, but how to work with people, how to manage people, how to like set expectations and what techniques to learn. Because that, I think, if we set that foundation of coaches and give people a taste and the resource and the access and the ability to do that job as well as possible, that's everyone wins in that situation.
All right, well, that's definitely a cool thing.
Yeah, and that's like we've sort of resourced media and stuff really well for like the last little bit, but I think more importantly now is that we really start like digging down and focusing on making sure our players are equipped to be the best they can be.
Yeah.
As far as growth of the sport goes, we attempted to do like a sort of mini hoops thing where we sent out good players to university, like fresh affairs or open days or whatever, which didn't go down quite as well. So we're looking at that again, but obviously in the current climate, we don't know if or when fresh affairs will be will be a thing. Like Harry Potter, from the feedback we've had, seems to be losing its appeal as a draw into the sport, and so now we need to sort of like okay, well what's the best way for us to like change that approach, basically. So the new website we're building at the moment is now going to be much more focused on new players, new public coming in. Like you come in, the first thing you see is find your club. You put in your postcode, and it gives you the nearby areas where you can play, or nearby events where you can train. All right, looks like I'm driving this then.
Oh, cool. What is this?
That is a mech, apparently.
Nice.
Nearby places where you can play or train, and it just bang on. makes things a lot easier for people to find, and everything from rules and policies, and you get there because the current website's fine, but it's a lot of text and it's difficult to find information. So it's making things as easy and accessible as possible, and that goes from things like playing to national teams to like we do actually do some funds and some grants. Like if you're a team that is struggling, no, we do. We have money set aside to like help teams out that are in like financial trouble. I was like, we've got a fund there for that. So like making those things front and center. So if a club comes in, they're like, oh, we actually need some money to help us get to this tournament or attend this training session, or maybe we want, James Burnett, the X-Band coach, to come and help us out. Like that could go towards paying for that sort of thing. So we do have things like that, but it's never been well advertised. And so making those things accessible, and like QUK is more than just the organization that runs a few events. We actually have support systems there to help clubs out.
Okay.
And if they know they can draw on those, hopefully they can work on that and grow that through. Like we've done things with like teams directors, like Development Cup as well as a tournament is great for things like refereeing and coaching. But we also did like leadership stuff as well. So like I believe last year Harry Smith went and just talked to club leadership and how to grow your club, how to work with people and like manage team members and like what your structure should look like. And like, do you need like 8 committee members when your club is 12 people large? Like, what is best and what fundamentally works for different. So it's educating and equipping and resourcing. That's like the next step. You've got to invest now. So these teams later on, go on.
No pressure. Just relax.
I mean, that's slight overkill, no?
It's fine. You know what? It's fun. You gotta make the most of it. These teams, these clubs, have the equipment and the resources there to do what they need to do and grow. Even clubs that have been around for a long time. Clubs like Leo, Kiel, and Leicester. Like Leicester is amazing as a university club. Like they've been around for yonks. They were there at the very first Quidditch game, I think. Don't at me if that's not right. But yeah, like they've just started strong and like Kiel as well has always been there, like sticking about, like an old EQC team. Had a good run at Dev Cup, and like we want to be able to see them come back and hit hard. Once again, why am I down there? How am I still down there? Sorry, I'm ranting now about specifics, but like there's a lot of clubs we want to see like brought back up and
Yeah, because you got all these historical teams that used to be really good and now are no longer, I guess, in the picture, which is a shame, really.
Yeah, it is a shame, and like I think that's a natural part of life. Like all good things come to an end, but at the same time, we don't want those clubs to end. And a lot of the time, it's like whether it's like club drama or like other things that sort of got in the way of growth. Like you want to make sure that, okay, how can we like come back and get you guys back? Like what do you need from us? Like how can we help? What advice can? Oh, buddy!
Wow, that was a.
Yeah, it's a roundabout way. Like I think as far as that side of things goes, there are still a lot of moving parts, but I'm pretty confident that we'll at least come through with some products or projects that'll do the job. If not this season, then next. Damn it.
So do you reckon like it's gonna be a Because I'm kind of worried that it's gonna be a full shift to community teams, because university teams seem to have less people, and then if we're gonna move BQC to earlier, like university teams will not have the time to actually train. So do you reckon like the future of the sport is definitely community?
I think, if I'm honest, I think the future of competitive, like big competitive, is community. Yes, I do think that's the case. Not to say that university teams cannot and are not competitive. But I share that sentiment a lot, and I think when I came away from Northern this year, or last year rather, one team put a hoop past Raptors, and that was Olympians. One team. And that was... I think that was like the nail in the coffin for this whole split. Okay, like, if universities and university team players have something to play for, I think we will see like a revive and a growth in the university sport. I think at the moment, like, okay, you're 18, 19, bright-eyed, you've come to Northern, you're with your mates, which, you met at a freshers fair when they accosted you. And you show up and, okay, you've never really played the sport before, you've maybe been to like 3-4 training sessions in your life, and your first match is against like Raptors. I like that, like, it's like there are always going to be teams better than you. That's fine. But I think for you to show up for the first time and be absolutely decimated, go on. To be absolutely decimated like that, it's such a turn off for new players to the sport.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That I don't blame clubs for struggling, or don't blame players for not wanting to come back after that. Like, why would you want to? Winchester came to a Southern, and a similar thing happened to them. They came and they got munched, and it took a long time for them to come back from that. They lost a lot of players. Like, fair enough. Why would you want to come back? It's not fun. You've come all the way to Sheffield. You've travelled. You've spent money, and you've done it just to lose. So, I think basically the point I'm trying to make is it's not Raptors' fault. Raptors are a good team. They're there to play hard and play well. But we need to, if we remove that from there, it gives these uni teams something else to play for. Another level to play for, and they can figure out the game and learn in an environment that's still competitive, still tough, but they come away feeling encouraged rather than completely dejected. And that's the most important part, I think. And I do think, and it's going to take time, we're not going to change it overnight, but it'll fix it. It'll fix it in the long run. And if it doesn't, then we'll try something else. Like, the sport's still so young that, okay, if this doesn't work, we can try something new. But we feel this is the best way to go about it.
All right, so I think that kind of, I guess, concludes all the QUK questions. Do you have anything else you want to bring up?
I mean, I'm curious. I'm curious to hear what you think about QUK. And if I've educated or changed your mind on anything, because I realize we're a big like faceless entity sometimes. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are or have been.
Let's play.
Well, I guess definitely now that I've spoken to you, I can see that there's actually more stuff in place, and maybe it's on me, the fact that maybe I don't spend enough time, I guess looking up what you do or something like this.
Sure.
But I guess because if people are like me and they don't maybe read all the posts or try and understand everything, it'll seem like there's not much in place. But now that I've spoken to you, there's a lot of stuff in place. So I feel like maybe. You guys seem to be doing a good job, and like I said, you're not just.
Thank you.
You're not just making decisions on a whim. So that's kind of cool. And also, I didn't expect you guys to have such a big, staff.
Yeah, there is a big team. And I think something else that's become apparent is that QUK feels. I've been told this. It feels inaccessible. Like, we ask people, why don't you volunteer? It's like, I don't think I can. I think there's this perception that QUK is this big, scary organization, which I understand. Like, okay, maybe we look intimidating to someone who hasn't had that experience before, and so that's something else we actively need to work on and to fix.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
You do say that, but it's it makes sense. You guys are, you're not just responsible for yourself. You're responsible for, I guess, I don't want to say people's lives, because it's not that
safety is a big. Safety is a big part of it.
Yeah. So if, for example, I don't think I'd be able to, run for you guys, because I just don't think I'm ready for all the responsibility and stuff. So I guess
But at the same time, we don't expect every volunteer to come in and you don't have to be a president or a tournament director.
Yeah, exactly.
We have amazing volunteers who just do things even things like gameplay spreadsheets and some of the administration stuff. One of the biggest unsung heroes of QUK is Alix Marie. They play for Cambridge, or they did play for Cambridge, and almost single-handedly she's developed the entire scoring and tournament bracket structure, which makes our lives so much easier.
Right.
And aim it people like that who little things they can come in and do and help out. It just makes stuff so much easier for us. Any volunteer that can come in and throw a hand in that, it's lots of hands make light work, right? That's the same thing. You don't need to be a graduate and have years of experience. Come in and ask, hey, what can I do?